Did you know, according to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, an estimated 11 to 23% of veterans experience PTSD within a given year, with 7 out of every 100 veterans diagnosed with the condition? Welcome to Let's Talk About Veterans, the podcast dedicated to meaningful conversations about those who have served our nation. I am your host, Dorina Federici, and today we continue our commitment to sharing authentic veteran experiences. Today we'll be talking about the importance of nurses in our conflicts. Our sponsor of this video is the Wethersfield Veterans Commission for their support on bringing America's Freedom Tribute here to Wethersfield along with the cost of freedom. So we do thank you again, the Wethersfield Veterans Commission. And I'm so excited because our guest today was an Army psychiatric nurse in Vietnam. We always hear about surgical nurses, at least me, that's what I've always heard about. But I never heard about the psychiatric nurses, and really, they're needed there or here. So it's very nice we're going to be hearing this story, and I'm so honored to have First Lieutenant Jennifer Glick, who was in Vietnam for 1 year, joining us today and sharing her experiences past and present. So let's begin our conversation. And hi, Jennifer. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us.
Yes, I'm excited, but where to begin? Because my assignment in Vietnam was not the usual one given to nurses. Everybody just presumes that you're a surgical nurse. Doing medical care, and mine was not that way. So I am going to start with a poem that will show you what it felt like when I got my assignment. This is entitled Confrontation at the 67th Evac Hospital, South Vietnam, 1970 to 71. Your entrance was the dull crack of helmet, slide of rucksack to a dispassionate concrete floor. My eyes took in the faded fatigues, slimy boots, the hold you had on your rifle, blanched knuckles strained through grime. From your shoulders hung this necklace, what looked like dried leaves, instead a jumble of withered ears mottled brown and curled onto themselves. That day, I was the mental hygiene clinic, a first lieutenant on call for anyone who showed up, for the GI whose psychology needed repair. Barely 23, not long before this moment, I was at Fort Sam learning to march, read maps, suture wounds on the hind legs of a goat. Who was I to be there for you? Your eyes edged this way, that, would not look at me, and did. So when you finally asked to talk, the air around us condensed a stagnant bubble. My being before you, no less vulnerable, just as bereft. Between us, I knew nothing. And that's how it felt, Dorina. I didn't expect to be assigned to work with a psychiatrist. I really had intentions of working in surgical nursing. To really beef up my critical nursing skills.
Right.
So when I got this assignment, it was like, what? Not exactly what I planned for, but it actually probably began my destiny, because I ended up in psychiatric care for the most of my career, not all of it. But it was really a disorienting experience to get, because basic training trained us in medical procedures.
Right.
And the Army way of doing things, like reading maps and marching. Nothing was mentioned about the psychiatric needs of combat soldiers.
Right.
I mean, I had absolutely no clue what I was getting myself into, so it was very disorienting.
Right. And what made you decide to go to Vietnam?
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. I had been out of college for just about a year, not quite, And I was thinking about going into the Peace Corps because I thought that would be the way to go. I could travel and I could use my nursing skills. Somehow, some way, an Army recruiter got a hold of me and told me at that time, this is 1970, about a volunteer program. They needed nurses in Vietnam. So the Army had developed a volunteer program where nurses would just volunteer to serve in Vietnam, and then that would be it, plus your basic training. You could stay in if you wanted to, but you didn't have to. So I was going peace, war, and ended up choosing war. I thought, well, I haven't been on that side of the world. So that's what got me to go to Vietnam. And I got a direct commission as a first lieutenant because I had a bachelor's degree. And the thing about going to Vietnam at that time, though, is that we went over as individuals. We didn't know anybody.
Right.
We didn't go over as a unit, as a division. So it was really scary. You didn't know anyone. And people came and went at different times. So friendships were hard to maintain because of that.
Right. And you were there for a year.
A year, yeah.
Right.
A full year. And I worked mostly at the 67th Evac Hospital in Quy Nhon, which is on the coast of South Vietnam, halfway between Da Nang and Cam Ranh Bay.
All right.
And it was, what was so difficult about it, it was that one would think it would be combat stress casualties that would be coming to your clinic. And it wasn't so much that. It was more these psychosocial issues that came up. It could be disciplinary problems, racial disturbances, attacks on commanders, drug abuse. So I'm like, whoa.
So that's basically what you were seeing.
Right. I mean, I'm 22, 23 years old, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do for... Plus, the guys that we would see, unless it was something that was hospital level of care, very serious, and that once in a while that happened, they would go back to their units. So it was very hard to treat because you couldn't provide support services very easily to these guys. And at the time that I went to Vietnam, this was, between 1969 and 1973, they were withdrawing troops.
Right.
And there was this polarization, cultural polarization going on in the United States with the anti-war movement, civil rights was going on, and an expanding drug culture. The replacement troops were often these very young draftees who might have been in trouble with the law, and the judge said, well, you can go to jail or you can go to Vietnam.
Wow.
So they chose Vietnam oftentimes. So these troops really questioned their purpose there. What were they doing in Vietnam? And sometimes they would come into the clinic expressing this dilemma with the psychiatric symptoms. But it could boil down to an unwillingness to serve in a combat zone, not wanting to do that, really being uncomfortable with military orders, just that whole thing that made it really scary.
Right. So when they came and you saw them, were they only there for a few days, a few hours, and then brought back to their units wherever they were?
Oftentimes the guys would get a leave, a short leave from the trenches, and some of them would pop into the clinic. Sometimes commanders would send someone to us because of the disciplinary problems.
Wow.
And the desire that maybe they'd be shipped out and they wouldn't have to come back. So it was a mixed bag. But the drug problem really grew quite a bit while I was there. And actually, after the doctor that I was working with was shipped home, his end date came up, and he just left, and they closed the clinic, and they sent me to Cameron Bay, which was very nice. It was right on the ocean. I could go to the beach every day. But there was a lot of bad publicity going on towards the military because troops were going home detoxing on the planes. And oftentimes, I mean, I went to Vietnam on a United Airlines flight. It wasn't a military plane, and I think a lot of guys went home the same thing. Way. So all of us had, if we were going home, leaving Vietnam, we all had to go through a drug screen. And anyone who was positive for drugs then had to go through detox
before they could come home.
Before they could leave the country. So we had not only enlisted but officers. There were quite a few people who came through our unit.
Wow. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
To hear all that. I mean, I thought it was all only in the United States, but it was going on over there too.
No. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had. There was a notice that went around to be careful of the pot because it might be laced with strychnine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, wasn't smoking pot, but
no. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It was a big problem. So
when it was time for you to come home, did you fly directly back? Were you living in Connecticut then?
Well, my parents, yeah. I was living. I would be going home to my parents. I went to. I flew to Fort Lewis, Washington, and that's where I decided that I was given the decision: do you want to stay in? Do you want to go home? Or just be
civilian?
Yeah, terminated from the military, and I decided to go home and become a civilian again. So
yeah. Oh, that's good.
That's how it went. Yeah.
So when they just let you go, did you have any kind of? I know when my boys for Iraq, they had like a. Yeah. I forgot what you call it, but they talk to them. They want to make sure they're all in the right headspace. Did they do anything like that for you guys?
Boy, it's this is like 55 years ago now.
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody talking to me. I know I had. Kind of like a case of bronchitis that people were paying attention to. But I don't remember. And that was the sad part about the Army back then, or the military back then, was that psychiatric care was not really given a lot of attention.
Right.
And actually, I've done some reading on PTSD, and there's some feelings that PTSD often results for troops coming home and not having the social supports and not being able to, reacclimate to the society anymore. I mean, our culture, we've never had an actual war except for the Civil War, I suppose. So people don't have a hard time understanding. So PTSD often happens then.
Right.
But
I know there was one thing I noticed with my sons. I think what helped them when they came back from Iraq is that they were still in a unit.
Yeah.
So they had each other.
Yeah.
To talk to. Even though they came home, like the Marine, my full-time Marine, when he came home after coming back from Iraq, it was hard because now he's with family.
Yes.
He wanted to go back to Lejeune.
Yeah.
He wanted to go back to be with them. So that's where their closeness is, being together like that.
Yeah.
So just to let people leave and not have that is tough because what they go through, what they see, who can they talk to?
Right. That's exactly it. I mean, when you're part of a division, it's kind of like a tribe.
Right.
It's all for one for all.
Exactly.
And that was a big problem for a lot of people serving in Vietnam. I think in the early days they might have gone in as divisions, so that they developed these type friendships. But when I went, it was not that way at all. So I can understand how your sons were.
Right. Yeah. And you could understand why they need that because you just don't know.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
Now, did you suffer from any PTSD from being there?
Yeah, and I've read, I don't know of any nurses personally who suffered from PTSD, but I actually experienced a dream that, PTSD wasn't.
I was just going to ask that. Yeah.
It wasn't a diagnosis until the 1980s.
Yeah.
So
I was wondering.
all of a sudden, I developed this dream for 20 years of being sent back to Vietnam,
Right.
and being chased by the VC,
Right.
the Viet Cong,
Right.
and that lasted for 20 years. And
Yeah.
I wrote a poem about that. Should I read that?
Absolutely. Read
Okay.
it.
Let me just find it here.
Right.
Yeah. The title of this poem is "The End Overdone." Usually the middle of night, I hurtle through an inky, humid jungle, swatting at ferns, vines, slipping off lichen rocks, finally diving into river reeds where I hold my breath. Along swampy banks, Viet Cong with AK-47 search for me. Damp attic, still the rats root along splintered beams. This time, the landscape is wide open, the noon sun a blazing blur over the tarmac of Tan Son Nhut Air Base. Again, I run from the VC. But now there's no place to hide, except for the school bus, like a mirage, my only sanctuary. I crouch beneath the last row of seats. I listen to boots scrape metal floor. I imagine their rifles scanning the bus front to back, all the way to my final hiding place. The bullet was expected, yet as it pierced my neck just beneath my chin, there was no pain. Instead, life wept relief, warm and sticky over the green vinyl seat, finally to exhale this phantom, this haunting. How quiet when the rain stops, moon swells, the stars find their place. Yeah.
And you went on for how many years with this dream?
The dream
dream?
went on for at least 20 years. It was in the 1990s that the last part of it, I got shot, and that ended it. And what's remarkable is that I resolved this myself.
I was wondering, that was one of the things I was thinking about before I came here. Did she resolve it herself, or did she have to go see someone?
Yeah. I didn't see anybody to talk about that at all. So I'm kind of proud of myself. I resolved it and never had the dream again.
That's good.
And, I've written a lot of poems about my experience in Vietnam, and I think that's been a way to cope, to really just put it down on paper. And and I have my journals from those days. I kept journals from those days. So I go back and reference certain events. Yeah.
And when you came home from Vietnam, how was it for you when you came home, family-wise, friend-wise, just your town?
Well, my parents it's like, well, you're home. For women, there was, a lot of people didn't acknowledge the fact that women served in Vietnam. So I didn't experience the hostility that a lot of the guys experienced. Yeah. But I just had that dream. So there were some times when a person would ask me, well, where have you been for the past year? What have you been up to? And I said, well, I was in Vietnam. And they would turn their backs on me. They were
so sad.
Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. So that was about the worst that I can say about that.
Did those dreams start right away when you came back?
Fairly soon.
Really?
Yeah. At least within about a year or two or so, it started. Yeah. And it just, when you're in a dream and you're saying, I'm dreaming.
Yeah.
What's this all about? But there was a lot of anxiety around it because I was trying to hide. And
and they found you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you were able to resolve it, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had to go through all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now there's so much more attention to PTSD. So I think,
Right.
yeah.
Hopefully they're getting the help that they need,
Right.
men and women.
Right, both, right.
You know, because
Yeah. The mental health services are really important because that was one of the problems back in the late 60s, early 70s. Psychiatry was, I mean, from my experience as a nurse,
Right.
wasn't all that respected as part of medical care or, you know, just health care in general, when it certainly is an important part of it. So it was kind of, it was difficult to assimilate all of that.
plus it probably wasn't the thing to do.
Right.
Go to see a psychiatrist and
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
That wasn't the
No.
thing to do.
There was a lot of stigma, discrimination about that. I mean, just even from my own family, because
Right.
there were some issues definitely in my family. And if I ever raised a little counseling, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
It
we don't
wasn't a
talk
thing to
about
do.
that.
Wasn't the thing to do.
Yeah,
No,
but now it's a little bit easier to
Right.
talk about, fortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was reading a study recently. We're going over time here.
No, you're good.
The Columbia University mailman public health department did a study on Vietnam veterans and their health, and those that had PTSD often had terrible cardiovascular disease and other chronic illnesses that would go on. So it's really important for people to acknowledge the tie-in between mental health and physical health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's just, that's what I just loved about, actually, you know, for anyone who doesn't know, I met Jennifer when we were bringing the Cost of Freedom and American Traveling Wall here. And this is how I got to know her and know her story. And it was just wonderful to hear it. And I'm glad she was able to share it with all of you too. It's an amazing story. I learned so much. So here's my question to all of you, is that if you are a veteran or know of one, what support have you found to help you with your PTSD or any other issues that may have happened from you coming back home? So let me know, and I would love for you to share it with me via email. And you can email me at dfederici.aft@gmail.com, and we'll have it in the blog here for you, but it's dfederici.aft@gmail.com. Facebook, visit us there too at America's Freedom Tribute on there, and you're going to see a bunch, you'll even see this there, this recording. So there's one thing that I have realized, and that's that we don't know, just like Jennifer was saying, we don't know what veterans are feeling. It's not something that's going to be on the outside. It's not going to be on the outside. It's something on the inside. So it's something for us to always remember. So they need to know that we're here for them, which is very important. They're not by themselves, and there's so many resources for them. And what I'm hoping with this podcast that we're doing, we're going to show people, show the veterans, show the family what resources are out there for them. And that's why I love doing this, to help others. So before we sign off, I want to thank Jennifer. Thank you so much for sharing your time, sharing your time, your experiences. I know it probably wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But I thank you for all of that. And this is Dorina Federici on Let's Talk About Veterans. And again, thank you for listening. And may we all continue to honor and continue to support those who served our country. And so until next time, thank you and have a great day.